Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Hello there, Michael Knowles, my favorite 14 words enjoyer. How are we doing today? Dating app for conservative. You know, I'm curious, people. I really am. And by the way, I have to say, I actually applaud the free market for meeting this consumer need, because in most parts of this country, if you go on any social media profile and openly present yourself as a conservative, you will get absolutely shit on. And that's a good thing. So, you know, we have a little safe space now for the conservatives. Let's see. I want to see.
First question from Michael. Dear Michael.
Oh shit, dude. I need this for my stream. Oh my god. Now time to take questions. And I like fucking flip a switch or something and we get like the fancy, yeah, that's good.
When will you be launching the Daily Wire dating app?
Oh yeah.
I'm sick of the hot singles in my area not sharing my conservative and traditional values.
How do you think that plans out in real life? I'm sick of these people not sharing my traditional values. When I message a woman and I'm like, hey, do you want to be my broodmare and sit at home barefoot while I earn all the money and cut you in on none of it? And you suck my dick every time I get home, and also you cook, and also you clean, and basically you're my mom and my daughter at the same time, and the woman says, no. That must really hurt for this guy, you know?
In all seriousness, was that not serious? That's fair enough. It seems like a serious statement. He goes on, in all seriousness, I live in the most liberal city in Wisconsin, and I can't seem to meet any respectable woman, it's the new spelling, that shares my values. I have not left because I have a great job and I'm close to home and family. Do you have any advice for seeking out the ladies worth their salt or some inspiration to up and move to a more conservative state? P.S. Nice.
Oh, God. Can you imagine if people start moving from state to state just so they can, like, date people with their political opinion? I guess, no, actually, hold on. I guess we already kind of do that, because if there's some trans kid in Idaho or whatever, I would say, yeah, fucking move over to Seattle or something if you can't. Find a way, you know? It's going to be better for you there. I guess we do that, you know?
Nice name. Thank you, Michael. I reciprocate the compliment. It's tricky for me to give advice here because I met my wife when we were like 10 years old or something. I'm not saying we got married right away, you know, dated other people in the meantime, but I just have a sort of different dating experience than many people do, and I was never on the dating apps, for instance. I did not have to date during this particularly crazy political time.
Wait, guys. He said when we were 10. Just to be clear to you guys, he said when we were 10, like they were childhood friends, okay? The reason I paused it is because I misheard in the same way that all of you did. I'm just making sure you all know. He said we. Still, I don't think it's gross to have a childhood friend you later marry. Okay, I just want to make sure it's known, okay?
So in many ways, I dodged a bullet. Sorry to gloat, but that's the way it goes. I left a liberal state and moved to a conservative state. And I did it for professional reasons, first of all, and also personal reasons, because it's easier to raise...
Wait, where is Michael Knowles based presently? Based on what? Does anyone know which state he lives in presently? Nobody seems to know. Omaha? Yeah. State of confusion. Yeah, perpetually, interminably until the end of time. Is it Nashville? So they all moved to Nashville. It wasn't just Ben? Okay, gotcha.
A kid in a more normal conservative state. And I love it, and I miss some of my friends in California, but basically I wish I had moved here even sooner to Tennessee. I absolutely love it. A lot of people are doing this in the country right now.
By the way, the city of Nashville is mostly liberal. We can pull up the county by county voting, but if you live in a big city, you live in a left-leaning area, like almost by default. It would be the rest of the state that's conservative. So I'll put it this way, okay? If you live in an area that's well-educated and economically productive, you're almost certainly in a Democrat stronghold. I mean, it sounds conceited, but that's like mathematically the case almost everywhere in the country. But I doubt they want to run the Daily Wire out of some like rural, building 20 miles away from the nearest urban center. So I'm afraid you're stuck with Dem strongholds for the moment.
They are moving to places to follow their philosophical lights, because as the country becomes more politically polarized, you're not going to want to live in some crazy place where everyone disagrees with you about everything and just views the world fundamentally differently. I'm not saying we can't have nice conversations with people who are on the left. I'm just saying if we're talking about radically different views of the world, it's going to be harder to get along there.
I like that. So this is what's interesting to me. He's talking about this, but he's not actually assigning moral worth to any of these differences. I think that's a really key distinction. He's just talking about people being different. When I tell like queer people that maybe they should, if they can, move out of like super conservative rural areas towards cities that are going to be more accepting of them, I'm not saying it because they'll find people who have fewer differences. I'm saying it because the current area they live in is full of people who are wrong. That's the difference right there. So I feel like if anything, this is kind of like the ultimate submission to identity politics, where political differences stop being an ideological matter and they start literally just being like what color you're wearing, It's not even about the ideas. It's just the fact that you disagree. I mean, I could be reading this a bit uncharitably, but I mean, conservatives are very attached to the identity, or you could call it the identitarian aspect of their political beliefs.
Where to meet a good woman. If you're having trouble on the dating apps, and I know people who've gotten married off the apps, if you're not able to go to bars because of stupid COVID, I would recommend making friends through other affinity groups.
Grindr.
Namely, your church, that would be the easiest one, but even through more interest-based groups, rather than, religion, which is the fundament, more interests. The examples of this are, and it kind of gets to my theory of how the country is changing and transforming
chapter.
And now going back to a different version of what it used to be. Before we had standardization and mass media.
By the way, if anyone thinks that I'm being too uncharitable to this guy, I strongly encourage you to watch the video that I did on him, where he was talking about putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Michael Knowles is shockingly racist. The language that he used was indistinguishable from the language and the rhetoric and the logic that would be used by a neo-Nazi. I mean, just short of using the slurs themselves, everything else was boilerplate. It was textbook. So I'm comfortable assuming a little bit with this guy,
Before World War II, we had much more local cultures. So Tennessee would be very different from, I don't know, California. Very, very different. Unrecognizable, maybe. Now, though they are still quite different, they're much more similar than they used to be. And if you go to cities in all these different places, the cities are all almost exactly the same. I've traveled all over this country, and it's more similar than it is different. Maybe that will change with polarization again. I'm not quite sure. But the local question kind of went away.
It's because of mass media. That's television. All across America, we consume the same media, more or less, or we have access to the same media. So as we do that, cities in America are going to trend towards the, sort of a golden mean of cultural development. Though there are obviously differences. Trust me, as somebody who's been around America a little bit, there are some pretty robust differences, around the cities in this country.
Now that the mainstream media and the standardization is breaking, I think we're going away from a common culture again. We're not all watching the same TV shows. We're not all watching the same movies. We're not all watching the same sports. We're not all watching the same newsmen. So that's breaking away. In a way, that's good. It's, in a sense, kind of a return to localism. But it's not localism rooted in geography. It's rooted in ideological affinity groups in many ways.
That's not good.
So it's not that once the mainstream media and the common culture cracks, we're all just going back to our local VFW hall. It's that we're all going online and talking to people who have the same interests that we do on the other side of the country, or maybe
He's
even
defending the concept of an echo chamber right now, like in its purest form. There wouldn't just be an ideological split in America, but people would only associate with other people who consume the same media as them, and there would be a cultural split along the lines of which media you consume, and that would be the return of local culture.
The other side of the world. I'm not willing to speculate now on what that means for our politics, but what it means for you is maybe you'll meet a lovely lady through the Daily Wire audience community. I actually saw on Twitter there was a singles chat going on in the Daily Wire community. I do think that you're
just hundreds of single guys. Oh God. I'm sorry. I could be assuming, but I'm gonna throw my hat out there and guess that the Daily Wire probably does not have a very equal audience when it comes to men and women. Oh man. Yeah, we have some. Listen, it's 300 desperate men and some entrepreneurs catfishing them. Okay, that's what we're getting right now.
You're going to have to look more specifically into your interest groups, into your affinity groups, than just the local bar. I think the new normal, in many ways, is shutting that down. If you enjoyed that break from disinformation.
All right, echo chambers. Very, very good. Well, it is, of course, to the political benefit of people like Michael Knowles that their audience spend as little time as possible interacting with left-leaning people. You know, that's something they've always advocated for. With Ben Shapiro said it too. What did he say? He said, there is no reason you should ever talk with a leftist unless you're in public and you're getting ready to destroy them. They don't want you to interact with people on our side at all because they know that people will get pulled away from them. You know, they know that's not a winning equation for them. I mean, God, have you seen what the best of conservatives are? Like, have you seen how low that gets? And those are the best of them. That's the cream rising to the top. What's your audience breakdown? I think my audience breakdown is 80-20, which is, to my credit, it's actually pretty good considering that I'm like a white dude debate bro on YouTube who like yells a lot and makes femoid jokes. It's definitely better than comparable people in that position. I remember that Jordan Peterson said that his ratio was like 95-5 or something like that, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Daily Wire was around that ballpark as well. You know? Well, whatever the case may be. Yeah. Your entire Discord is trans women, lol. Look, demographics are confusing, okay? Would you debate Steven Crowder if you got the chance? Yeah, of course, absolutely. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? As long as we got to pick the topics beforehand. Well, anyway, there's a bit of lighthearted fun. Michael Knowles, I hope you're doing good. We'll talk one day, okay? We'll talk one day.